Final hour of the society on a Wednesday, the 24th of July 2019. Below my voice, the music of Chronics, and he says Skanking Sweet. And before that, I played you the music of Sauti Soap and Soul, in video the storyteller and Christo Asige, and that's a track called Extravaganza. 10 minutes after 2, it is the time.
The way of the world, the society we live in, all captured on the society.
All right, so welcome to the Midweek Chat. Every Wednesday we bring in inspirational figures and artists or persons with, so much of an interesting life to share with you, so that you can as well take one or two out of their lives. So today in the studio I'm joined by a photographer and a wedding photographer, I must say.
Yes.
Weddings.
Yes.
Okay. Mainly. All right. The word mainly. And I'm joined in by Chenesai Monera, who's a photographer based in Harare. Good afternoon and welcome.
Afternoon, Jose. How are you?
I'm great, man. Look, I have seen your work, but for the benefits of those who haven't seen your work, describe it.
I think my work is emotion and detail in one moment.
All right.
That's it.
Emotion and detail.
Yes.
All right. So the reason why we brought you here, we could have brought, not to take anything away from you, but I'm saying we could have brought anyone. Other photographer in the studio. But female photographers are very hard to find.
Yeah, there are not a lot of us, hey?
And rare.
There are not many fish in that sea.
In that sea. Maybe
one or two goldfish. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So, that's the reason why we brought you here. And we thought, you know what, let's talk to a female photographer for a change. Let's find out, camera lying around and they're thinking,
exactly.
Or how can I go about this and stuff like that. Yeah. So that's the reason why we had to bring you here and probably just... you could inspire one or two other ladies out there to actually join in the cause. But let's have a profile about yourself. We could go on and try and find it on Google and read about it, but it would be better from the horse's mouth. Who is Chenesai Monera?
I think Chenesai is more of a socialite in a way. Mm-hmm. I'm a Christian. I'm a photographer, passionate about photography, and in general, I'm just a people person, I think. Simply put, that's me. All right. Yeah.
So your love for people drove you to photography, or photography loved you through you to loving people?
I think for me, loving photography was a combination of three things. So my love for people, my love for business, and my love for experiences, like just memories. And photography happened to be that one place where all of these things kind of met. Mm-hmm. So yeah.
Oh, okay. So you started for a Bachelor of Science in Computer Science and Physics.
Yes. And
you threw it all away?
I don't think throw it all away. One friend of mine once said there's no experience that's irrelevant. Every experience is relevant, and I kind of see it in my work, because the way I grasp certain concepts or understand software or just some of the elements of photography, I can see how my degree is very beneficial in that I catch it quite easily. Okay. And I'm very technical as well. So because of the physics side.
That could be the place where Uruguaro
10 notes.
All right. So how long have you been doing this?
So I've been doing this for 5 years.
5 years?
It will be 6 years on the 1st of August, actually, which is in like a week or so.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've been in it for 5 years.
You have found the road interesting, hard, easy. Describe it for us.
The road has been very hard, but it has been very rewarding, and it's been very exciting, if I can say. I don't think if I was... So someone would ask me, if you could choose again, would you choose photography? Would you choose the same road? I would say definitely yes. A lot of adrenaline, a lot of fun times, a lot of stuff I've learned. I mean, it's my passion. I love it. Do it any day. I love it. No regrets at all.
So right now, if they offer you a post for whatever it is that you would, do as a computer scientist and physician in that degree, would you take it?
I will take it. I believe in 7 sources of income.
All right. Get the money.
But I will not drop photography.
You would not
it.
drop
Yeah.
photography.
Yeah.
All right. So you were crowned Sunday Male Photographer of the Year, 2016.
Yes. Wow. Wow. That's a long time.
That's a long time ago. 3 years from now. So you were, let's say, 2 years in the field.
Yeah.
And then now you getting an
Yeah.
award.
Yeah.
Does this improve your work? How did you feel? And what did it do to you?
Like, I mean, it obviously improves the work in that you have more people kind of trust you to shoot their events or their weddings. And as more jobs come in, because you're practicing, it means you get better naturally. But also it opens doors into certain areas of influences that you would never have had the chance to have access to. So it definitely helps, but also just the recognition in itself, because I know, with most creatives, we really judge ourselves and we really don't think we're doing anything, and it's not good enough. So just getting a recognition in its own way as a way of just encouraging you and motivating you to do better, and in a way keeps you accountable to a certain degree.
All right.
So yeah.
So what really sets you apart? Because I'm struggling to find the reason why we have a female photographer. Yeah, you've got a little bit of that cartoon. I say photographer, you say photographer.
I don't even know what's
what sets you apart as a businesswoman, more than just being a woman? I mean, we know you said you mostly deal with wedding photography, and women will be at the core of saying, I want to choose my own photo. Is that what really, makes you have more clients, or it is something else?
I think, as I mentioned earlier, I'm a Christian, and one of the most important Christian values for me is character and integrity. And carrying that into photography, I think that's what has defined me and pushed me. Being honest with my clients and doing 110%. I always say to people, I never want to be given, I always want to earn it. So when someone pays me, I really want to do 110 and give the best of myself. And I think in giving the best of myself, I have pushed myself towards some kind of mastery. But also I've earned respect of my clients who, even though maybe the work is not the best, but I think there's an energy it carries that is very contagious to my clients, that they feel safe. But also I just think I'm also blessed with my personality, because I'm a people person. So clients I've seen for weddings, it's a happy event. So I've seen they do appreciate part of my personality that is outgoing, that is fun, that is hilarious in a way. And I think so. It's a combination of a lot of things, but I would say more than anything, it's just the character and the integrity, or working towards it. Because I'm not perfect, but just working towards it. I think for me that has been it, and hard work. Like, it's a lot of work, and you always want to give up. But for me, when I started, I said, you know what? Should I do computer science? Should I do photography? Okay, let's give photography 5 years. If it doesn't work, God, I promise you, I'll drop it. And I just put 110, and I work at it. And
you gave God a timeline.
Yeah. No. I negotiated. I negotiated the terms.
You literally gave God a timeline, and you're like, in 5 years, I'm dropping this.
Yeah,
if it doesn't work, believe me.
And for sure, I really do believe that when you pursue something in faith with so much passion, there is just a grace to it, and I feel that's what has been my testimony of just putting everything, working hard, being diligent, prioritizing integrity and character with my clients, and God just kind of blessing that, and then people recognizing it, and also just speaking on my behalf, to people that I don't even know about, who have brought so much, business and encouragement and support to what I actually do.
All right.
Yeah.
So how many clients do you see in a year?
Wow.
How do you? Yeah.
I've never calculated. I never calculated.
General understanding, maybe.
But I would say in a year maybe I'll shoot about 30 weddings or 24 weddings maybe. Family shoots I'll probably do around maybe 30. Wow. Yeah. But this is of the last year, because I've grown quite a lot in the last year. Like, yeah. So I'd say.
How do you juggle that with other things? I mean, you're young. You need to see friends. You need to, I don't know.
Yeah.
Do other things that young. I don't know if you're young, but you look young.
Fam, I'm old. But I think you always make time for the things that you prioritize. I've got very, very deep, very strong relationships with my friends. And I think I don't procrastinate to make time for them or even my family. So it's something that you kind of plan and just make sure you prioritize. So work doesn't come before family, and family doesn't come before God for me.
All right.
So just being able to prioritize it's not always fluid, but it helps. But I think I've managed to do. But on a general, like, I'm not an outgoing person. Like, I'm not a clubbing person. Not that there's anything wrong with that. So that kind of gives me more time. So on a normal day, I'm just coming from work straight to my house. I stay on my own. I have nothing to do.
So you're basically clubbing,
and then I'll just
at your events.
Yes, pretty much. So my Friday, Saturday, Sunday is my time out. I don't work on Sundays anymore. So I reserve that for family and friends.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's always enough time, actually.
Whenever you want to see the success of a person, when they start calling the shots on the days they work. I don't work on a Sunday, period. There's no discussion. That's the person who's making it.
Yeah.
21 minutes after 2 on Capital 100.4 FM. We're going to take a short break and we'll be back straight after this.
Every day of the week, Monday to Friday at 17:35 hours, Capitalk 100.4 FM brings you Pick and Drop. If you have lost something or have picked up something, report it. Pick up and drop off points at Capitalk FM, Star FM, and Herald House security points. Send WhatsApp to 0717 777 777 or call 0242 442 924 to report lost and found items. Pick and Drop on Capitalk 100.4 FM at your service.
The way of the world, the society we live in, all captured on the society.
We are back and we're speaking to Chenesai Monera, Harare-based photographer. All right, photographer.
Honestly,
Let me just go through
no
it.
idea.
Yeah,
but I say photographer.
Photographer, okay.
But, I don't know.
Harare-based photographer. And maybe Patience will come through and teach us a little bit of English. She's our news reader. She does that. She knows how to really, teach you the basics. But anyway, that's for me. You're good. So let's look at, the business aspect of it.
Yeah.
We see a lot of guys, a lot of women just roaming around, my camera and stuff like that. What is the difference really? Because I think maybe that's the first place where people start to shun photography. They think maybe aningangofana nemdara uyandasangana naye pa Africa Unit Square or in the streets, and they're just going down. I can't really have my child become a photographer full time because I've seen probably the bad examples. I don't know if those are the bad examples. What is the real difference between that which we see on a day-to-day basis and the one that shows up on my wedding, maybe a high-profile wedding, and starts shooting?
I would say there's a difference between taking photos and being a photographer, and there's a difference between a photographer and running a photography business. So taking photos is what everyone normally does with their phone, whatever. But when you enter into the photography lane, it's more creative, it's more thoughtful, it's more intentional. But then when you get into a photography business, it's different. It's all about the money. It's all about making a difference. It's making an impact. It's more concerned to master. It's more into mastery of the art or whatever you are doing. And so I feel like most parents see us just taking photos, and then they just think kuti apana mari inoitwa, or they don't understand there is actually the photography part which is there, and also just running a photography business where you can actually make a lot of money. So I would say kuti usually for events like weddings, people have kind of tapped into the photography business element, or between photography, some creative aspect, and someone who actually runs a business, So I think that's the difference. And I think there's just a different level of responsibility, I guess, when it comes to when someone is just doing photography. They're not really concerned about your clients, the expectations, the deliverables. they can be, consent to a certain extent. But I mean, if you're running a photography business and you're really serious, like you have to, there's a responsibility about it. If you are paid, you have to deliver type of thing, But if you're taking photos, it's just like, yeah, okay, you know what I mean? So for me, that's how I think that's how biggest I can kind of try and describe it. But there's a responsibility to it. There's a weight to it when you're running a photography business, and there's money to it. And I think all three give kind of three different weights to the income as well.
All right.
Yeah.
Now, the biggest pitfall that we've always heard from photographers is, doing it for free. Somebody always wants you to shoot for free, and they always think it is not that expensive.
Yeah.
And say, let's give an example. When you're starting out and creating some sort of a portfolio, how did you manage to move away from saying, look, it ain't for free anymore?
Yeah.
I think my portfolio, I don't know, it's full. And moving on to properly introducing everybody to the fact that I have a service to offer and I need money for it, and this is how much it costs.
Yeah.
How did you manage to juggle that and move away from just probably doing stuff for free or trying to create a portfolio? Because always, as a photographer, they ask you, where's your can I see your work? And if you don't have that, you cannot become one.
Yeah.
But then, how did you then move from separated to say, look, I think I've got it now. You don't need to. I don't need to do it for free.
Yeah.
I need money.
I think, firstly, maybe you need to understand that it's a journey. And so it is necessary that at a particular point in your journey, you will do things for free. Then you will move on to a level where you do a service, but it's undervalued. And then you move to a place where you are desperate for a job, but it's paid okay money. And then you move to a place where you don't have to ask for jobs anymore. They just come. And to come from that place to where you don't have to look for jobs, I think it is a process.
Yeah.
It is a process. And through that process, you learn a lot of stuff. For me particularly, I think it was a combination of two things. Number one is when I was using a certain type of camera, and I saw a new type of camera, and I saw the price tag on it. On my own, I was like, I cannot shoot for free. It's not going to happen. There's no way I'm going to buy this camera
and
for
shoot
free.
for free.
Impossible.
Yeah.
Then the second thing was, as you grow in your gift and in your passion, you read articles, you read all of these things, and they kind of teach you, that the important thing is not the price tag, it's the value. So if you're gonna do work for free, you have to attach a value to it. You're right. So, Jose, if I know that you are an influential person, you're gonna give me, and let's say I want to do a headshot for you for $50, and I know from that $50 I'm gonna get a job for a conference which is gonna pay $2,000. I will gladly do it for you for free because I'm attaching a certain value to it.
Okay.
So I think for me, it's when I begin to not look at the price tag, but to look at the value that person is bringing to my business.
All right.
Yeah.
We are on the program, the midweek chat, right here on Capital 100.4 FM, Harare's Heartbeat, and we have Chenesai Monera, a female photographer. You can tell she's a female from the voice, yes, and her work does not even signify anything of that sort. I've looked at your work and other big photographers in Harare or in Southern Africa. It is not at par at times. Some you'd expect them to have better shots than you, but you have better shots than them. So it is. I don't think there is a limit to any woman actually becoming a great photographer.
Yeah,
I've got a message that comes through and says, "Wow, a female photographer." And she puts in 4 fireballs and some smiley face with 3 hearts all over. He says, "Amazing! I really find it inspiring to other women out there and even us as men to be bold and confident. Also to be persistent in following your passion and dreams. Especially women would think all things are meant to be done by men. Be there because you can fit among men." That's
good.
a message coming from one of our listeners there,
That's
Takul.
good.
So
That's good.
we have photography schools here in Zimbabwe.
Yeah.
I'll not mention names.
Yeah.
But they churn out photographers every year.
Yeah.
And yet, we don't have a large pool of photographers in the country to say, I can pick from this. We have, you can name them. You can probably count them. They are a handful where you can say, I really want my event to be graced by these people. And yet we have these schools teaching kids photography every day.
Yeah.
What could be the reason as to why they don't make it as you have made it? And do you think there's a wrong perception towards maybe the cost or the way it is being handled?
Yeah.
What do you think could be the reason why a school right now is not really bringing out the best of photographers in the world?
This is a bit controversial, but I think that the curriculum is weak. It is very weak.
Okay.
It is very weak. I mean, like, if you look at the content, it's different.
Yeah.
If you look at the approach, it's different from in essay.
This is weak in relation to international standards?
Yes, in relation to international standards.
Yeah.
So let's take a photography school in essay and a photography school in Zimbabwe.
Yeah.
They are worlds apart, literally like 10 years apart.
Wow.
Right? And also when you look in Zim, there are not many institutions, right? Maybe you will count like maybe MSU as a degree in media, and photography is like one course, right? But if you look at, let's say, other international universities and ETC colleges, they have like maybe like a degree in fine arts, and it really goes deep. It really introduces you to all the aspects. Like I mentioned earlier, there's aspect of business, So if someone does not have that aspect, there's no way they're going to move from there and run a photography business, like let's say some of my colleagues, maybe like Picture Hub, like Elwin, like Photofundi, like Dixon, like whoever. It's impossible. The only reason why these guys are there is because they have done some additional learning for themselves, like online. Like for me, I never went to a photography school. I literally went on YouTube, got a camera, and I was just like, okay, how do you work this? And how do you work this? And that element of physics comes in because I'm very practical.
Yeah.
So gadgety things interest me. So I'm like, how does this go? So I've had to had additional learning experience. But I will tell you this, like, no one can compete with me. Right, even in my, let's say, first year, second year, third year, someone who's coming from like a institution in Zim and just having only that knowledge from the college, they can't compete because the information they are given is irrelevant to what you're saying, the kind of photographer we are looking for.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you look at like Nigerians, they're out of this world.
Yeah, Nigerians.
They're really all about on YouTube, and the content that they consume is content that creates, giants in the creative space. So I really think that our schools don't offer us very deep, very, kind of grounded information and resources for people to come out. So you'll see there were people who have gone to those institutions, but for them to arrive to a place where we can say, wow, that is great work, I promise you 100%, it's because they have practiced a lot and they've added more information via YouTube, via tutorials, via etc. Yeah.
So the curriculum needs to be much, much stronger and accommodating, recent developments within that field.
I agree. Yeah.
All right, it's 27 minutes before we get to 3 o'clock. If you've got a question for Chenesai, Chenso.
I was about to say
Chenso. Yeah, you never hear it spelled or pronounced in full, right? Chenso. If you've got a question for her, please send it through on 0717 777. You can as well call as well on 0242 495 112, or you can use the alternative number that's on 0772 269 229. Do you find any part of your work intimidating? Like when you have to crouch or go down or lie on the floor?
It is.
And as a woman, in our society.
Yeah. It's quite intimidating. Also because I'm a backbencher. Even though I'm like outgoing and an extrovert, I'm a backbencher. I don't like to be the center of attention or in front of the crowd. So, but my job requires that.
Yes.
So it's quite intimidating. Number one. Number two, because our industry is male dominated. Like I'm literally 90% No, like literally 99.9% I'm with guys.
Yeah.
So I mean, if you travel to Blawayo and for team of videographers, sound and photographers,
Yeah.
it
is all-
Muneva roommate 10, I'm the only lady.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So it's intimidating at so many levels, you know what I mean? So yeah, but also, yeah, society as well. People at weddings, some of them will not maybe like trust you and will come to you and say, can I see your boss?
So I'm the boss.
No, tinongodedza, you know, whoever is the assistant photographer. And, you know.
Man.
But for some guys who are for some it's very genuine.
Yeah.
You know, so but for some they're arrogant, and I will say, you're talking to the head photographer. How can I help you? You know, yeah. So some you put them in the right place. Some you will enjoy the humor that comes with it. So yeah. So you know, it's intimidating in a lot of ways, but yeah.
All right. So what's the biggest photography gig you've ever had?
In terms of money or in terms of
Well, in terms of both money and the stature, maybe of
of a gig.
Of the gig.
I've had the privilege, and all of these jobs I actually never, looked for them. Like, it's someone who's seen my work. I've done a family for, and they happen to be in the same office that requires my services and kind of recommend me. So, I've shot family photos for the President Robert Mugabe, former President Robert Mugabe. I've shot when President Mnangagwa went to Davos. I was the main the main photographer for him when he did that. And then there are also just high profile kind of clients in Zim that I've had the opportunity to shoot for. And then there are other companies that I've always respected, sort of like.
But I respect you right there when you say former and the current, ladies and gentlemen.
So,
photographer for the former and the current president.
Yes,
in Zimbabwe. So that's great.
Yeah,
that's
so
really big.
and then just a lot there. Even just other people in society that are doing great stuff, and you get an opportunity to shoot them, or organization whose kind of mandate I respect and what they stand for, and they kind of call in to say, we need you to do this, and you're like, wow, me, and there've been there've been a few jobs that I've really been like, wow, God, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I want to take you back to where you say, when we said you started for a Bachelor of Science in computer science and physics.
Yeah.
And then you decided, let me do photography for 5 years. You gave God a timeline. You're like, if I'm not doing this in 5 years, I'll go back to what you gave me. But anyway, it worked out well.
Yeah.
You never went to a photography school.
Yeah.
And you learned all the stuff that you know right now online. Yes,
YouTube and just experience. Like,
this is a constant in your life. You still refer to YouTube and all those tutorials?
It's so bad. Because I think that's why I'm not even growing at a rate as I could be.
Yeah.
I've slowed down on the YouTube thing, but it's something that I've started to get back into because I've seen my passion kind of die in the last year. I've been asking myself, what's wrong? What's going on? In as much as people see the work and they're like, wow, kudos. But inside myself, it's like, when we do art, it's selfish in a way. So, for example, when I shoot a wedding, I'm not trying to just meet the client's expectation. I'm trying to meet my expectation. I want to look at my work and say, yo, and this data bad.
That's what you tell yourself.
Yeah. So I always want to be in that place because my work has to make me happy and has to inspire me as well. So now I'm getting back into it, and I've seen sort of like my passion get revived, and learning. You learn till death, and that's how we grow.
Do you think there's an element probably of intimidation? You're out there and you're watching a YouTube video. This guy's using the latest, camera out there, and you have a small little, point and shoot, and
Yeah, like I mean the kind of camera you for me personally, the kind of camera I have has an effect on, well, like, it inspires me, because if you get a better camera, it means you're getting better images in a way. And when you see it, you're like, oh, I'm not sure I'm the one who shot that. And then you're like, I want to shoot more, you know. Although I feel like the skill is always above the kind of gear you use. You know?
always say that, right?
Yes. But it's you know, it's in the balance, you know. So yeah, it's intimidating. It was the new Sony Alpha, what the second one? I don't know that one. And
I was, and you were like, it's the Rolls
I was
Royce
still drooling on the last one, which I cannot afford. I have to sell my car to just afford the body, not the lens. And then they, you know, they get a new one. I'm just like, wow, 2020 goals, Vision 2020 type of thing. So yeah.
So, which brings me to the question of equipment. I mean, there's always stuff that's coming out that's new, that's brand new, and just sitting there, and you've got the 1995 or you know, the 2010 version of their camera that's no longer, people are selling it to buy another, you know, and stuff like that. Do you have to keep up as a photographer? I mean, someone is listening right now and thinking, okay, so I have this one, will it work for me? Do you have to keep up? Or you can just basically say, I have this, I have to, you know, use it to the best of my ability until I'm done with it. Then maybe when I can afford another one, then move on.
I think you have to stay in your lane, but you also have to be like forward thinking, and you have to keep those two in the balance. So what I mean is, whatever you have to maximize on it whilst you save up for the, not maybe the latest, but the next kind of generation of cameras or whatever. So you can be using just a simple, what they used to call it, I don't remember, but that, and then there's a full frame, which I use. But now we've moved from full frame to mirrorless, right? So in my mind, there is no way I will end 2020 without a mirrorless. I can't afford it now. So what I'm doing is I'm maximizing what I have now as I save slowly towards buying a mirrorless camera, so that whatever work I am doing, it also competes at an international level. Like for me, my dream is always to say, I don't want people to say, Aiwa, ani camera is Surkuita, or oh no, she's from Zimbabwe, oh no, she's female. I like my art to just be compared as art, right? I want to just produce something that we put out there and people are just, you know, that's the best picture, without having to say, oh, who shot it, where, you know, what kind of camera were they using. And I think what helps with that is also just the gear that I use. If I upgrade, you know, as I go, so I don't have to have the latest, but I have to just keep my eyes open and be forward thinking to kind of save up to gear that helps my work.
All right.
Yeah.
It is 18 minutes before we get to 3 o'clock. It's the last hour of the Society on a Wednesday with me, Joe Mars, and I have Chenesai Monera in the studio, film and photographer based in Zimbabwe. The only photographer, female for that matter, to come in this studio who has shot the former president and the current president. I mean, we have to just applaud that. So we're going to take a short break, and we'll be back straight after this.
Qaphelani izikliwi ezihamba ngemota ezingela mithelo, ama number plates, unregistered vehicles ezithathela abantu emigwaqweni, ama cell phones, ama laptops, lenye impahla eqhakathekileyo. Ngakho ke uZulu uyakhuthazwa ukuthi angahambi ethwele imali enengi, njalo angaxoxi labantu angabaziyo ngempahla alayo. Njalo zivikele wena labathandekileyo bakho engozini yezigebenga lezi ngokuqaphela ngaso sonke isikhathi. Nxa ucabangela ukuthi kule mota ekulandelayo, qonda enkambeni yamapholisa eseduzane lawe. Yethemba umzwangedo wakho. Uma kulabantu ongabazwisisi kahle eduzane lawe, bekulandela, qonda emapholiseni. Ukubanjwa kwezigebenga lezi kuzaletha ukuthula phakathi kukaZulu. Lo umbiko liulethelwa ngomsakazo weCapital 100.4 FM iphathisana loZulu.
It's going down.
Are you ready?
July 27 at Old Hararians, 12 noon, the only place you need to be. Featuring the very best of Zimbabwean music. It's going to be epic. Come and be part of history. The first ever Zimtulikazi Music Festival 2019. Zimbabwe's link to the world. Harare's heartbeat.
I love it.
Connect with us on www.capitalfm.com. Facebook, Capital 100.4 FM. Twitter, @CapitalFM. Instagram, @CapitalFM. The way of the world. The society we live in. All captured on the society. Call us now. On 0717 777 777.
Okay, here we go.
15 minutes before we get to 3 o'clock, Chenesai Monera is in the studio, and she is a Harare-based photographer, and we are talking about all things photography this afternoon. If you'd like to be a photographer as well, and if you think it's not a degree, it's a diploma, no. This, ladies and gentlemen, is a lady who studied everything on YouTube.
Yeah.
And Facebook and all those. So who's your biggest motivation in the photography landscape right now? I mean, is it a woman? Is it a man?
Men. Both of them. No pun intended.
Yeah.
But I think from the first day I started to be interested in wedding photography, there's been Joshua Dwayne, is a States-based photographer, and there's been Jide Odukoya, he's a Nigerian-based photographer. Like those two for me have been, they've been, and there's a there's a few guys on Instagram and even here in Zim as well, but those two for me are
okay. So there's always been that issue that some shoot like it's sort of like photojournalistic pictures, some shoot how do you describe yours? Is it just go out there and take the nicest picture that you've got? Do you have an explanation of what it really is like or feels like?
Like for me, it's I'm more of a natural light photographer. Or have been. Natural light photography means when I'm shooting outside, I just depend on the sun for light. I don't have artificial strobes or lighting, so I enjoy that texture. So I'm a natural light photographer, and then I'm very easy on the edit. So I like to keep the natural look type of thing. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Message comes through on our Facebook page and says, Chenesai, is that good? Her services and the team are on point, and I have the evidence for it. Keep shining, my sister, and thanks for the job you did on my wedding. That's Simbarashe Jakarta. Thank you very much for that message. Dumisani Msuku says, congratulations, we need more people like you. So that's doing
good.
great jobs out there.
Yeah, wow.
And there's always been that conversation of how video is regarded more important. You do weddings, more important than photography on a wedding gig. How do you go about that, convincing maybe your client that, look, I need to get paid more than the video guy or than the cake lady?
I think now I don't negotiate. I don't need to convince the client.
All right,
I have my price. I have the value that's attached to the price.
Yeah.
And when the client pays me, he says I agree with the value. But if they don't, then they don't book me. So at no point am I trying to convince a client to book me per se. I would rather just say, this is what I have done. If you feel like I can represent your vision, then let's do this. Because I think one of the most important things that people never say about wedding photographer is as a client, you need to trust your photographer, because if you don't, I sense it. And photography for me, I'm personally an emotional person. Now Ed being a creative to that, it's insane.
All right.
So I'm very much connected to everything that I do. I'm very emotionally involved. And so if you don't trust me, it affects the way I do my job, right? So I never ever want to convince a client to book me and kind of give them reasons. I prefer to just do the work and then show the work. And and then if they like who I am as a person, the work that I've done, then they book me.
All right.
Yeah.
Chenesai Monera in the studio, photographer based here in Harare. The only female photographer that I know who has, and I keep repeating, who has shot the former and the current president. So yeah, it's been great. Listen, since you have been taught everything by, online.
Yeah, and other people as well.
And other people
colleagues,
as well.
Yeah.
Yes. Are you going to be a resource to a female out there who's listening, a young lady who wants to take up photography, and probably share with the world how you do it as well, and how you have overcome all these hurdles, and how you've become one of the best photographers in the country right now? Are you going, in some way or the other, going to give back through probably a YouTube channel or whatever?
I'm not sure what media it will be, but we've already. It's not that we're going to. We're already doing it.
All right. Okay. Cool.
And for me, I remove the tags.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, when I try to pass on what I know, it's not like ladies or females, just like whoever wants to learn in your sport. Because I feel like sometimes when we give the labels, then it becomes easier for women to get into this role, and then we leave the guys as well. But I think that opportunity should just be available for everyone. So for me, that's kind of like my mantra, like the opportunity is there. I'm very keen to teaching people. I've never said no. Obviously, capacity which I can handle. But what I'm always trying to constantly do is like post on my social media to say, if there are any ladies who think they have the skill, any ladies that are interested, or any ladies willing to put in the work, then come through. But one thing I will not do is to hire a lady who does not put in the work.
All right.
There's no
talk to your lady
yes.
friends out there.
End your spot at the table.
Yeah.
And let's work together, because it's hard work. Yeah.
And your spot on the table, and you can work with Chenso right here. Nancy Mangemba says, I love Chenesai's work ethic and product. She makes you feel special and is really talented. Can't wait to see you soon. Question, where do you want to be in 10 years?
10 years, I really want Pixel to be like a media house, like a media house. So we're doing photography, video, sound, reliable, media house, thriving in integrity, professionalism, excellence. So that's with regards to the photography business. But in the next 10 years, hopefully I would also have ventured into other businesses. As in this life, we're just growing, and we have other gifts, that we need to explore before we die.
Right.
So hopefully I'll get into maybe a bit of farming, because kumusha tinorima, and my dad it would be really good to kind of explore that. I'm also very talkative, and I feel like maybe I might have a gift in regards to just mentoring and speaking and motivating.
You've done that
people.
before. They invited you to speak at Makombora Zimbabwe Girls Child Mentorship in sometime 2014, 15, 16, some time ago. Busy schedule. I've actually forgotten about that.
I've forgotten, but yes. But the other thing, definitely 10 years. I'll definitely be involved in. I would love to be involved in ministry and mission work.
Okay.
See how that goes.
All right.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, Chenesai Monera, photographer based here in Harare. Thank you very much for coming through.
Just thank you for having me.
I wish you all the best in your work, and kwasara family yangu imbotoroone my pictures.
Apana chino net.
Mari yako cheti.
Aiwa. Value.
All right. Thank you very much for coming through, and we wish you all the best, And
thank you so much, Jose.
You leave the best of you in each and every house, and that means a lot. Wow. I speak more to photos in a house or in any setting than anything else.
Yeah.
You might have all those decorative things and stuff like that, but a picture will tell you 1,000 stories. That's what I believe.
Indeed.
All
Thank
right.
you so much. Thank you for having me. Thank you to all the listeners.
So we're out. It is 7 minutes before we get to 3 o'clock right here on Capital 100.4 FM. My name is Joe Mars. I will catch you tomorrow between 12 and 3. I'll leave you listening to the music of Ed Sheeran and Yeba. And he says, the best part of me. And he is hoping that the best part of you, it is still actually out there. All right.
Find my